In every nation, there are people who protect without asking for reward, who stand tall when danger rises, and who lead others not by command, but by courage. These are the leaders of the army, men and women who inspire others through sacrifice, discipline, and unshakable loyalty. This is the story of Lieutenant Arav Singh, a young soldier who learned the real meaning of respecting leaders, not through rank or medals, but through moments of fire, fear, and faith. Arav joined the army with a heart full of pride. He had dreamed of wearing the uniform ever since he was a child. To him, soldiers were heroes, brave, fearless, and strong. When he entered training camp, he was full of energy and confidence, but like many young recruits, he believed he already knew enough. Whenever his senior officer, Captain Rathore, gave instructions, double-check your rifle, clean your boots properly, maintain formation, Arav would think, why so strict? I already know this. He followed orders, yes, but without full respect. One morning, during a routine field exercise, Captain Rathore ordered the unit to march through a muddy trail. The terrain was difficult, the sun harsh, and spirits low. Arav whispered to another soldier, "Why are we doing this? There's no point in walking through the mud." Just then, Captain Rathore's voice cut through the wind. "Soldier! You question the path because you don't see the purpose, but a true soldier learns to trust the leader even when the purpose isn't clear." Arav said nothing, but those words stayed in his mind. Months later, Arav's unit was deployed in a remote hilly region near the border. The nights were freezing, the silence haunting. One night while on patrol, they received an alert. Possible enemy movement in the forest ahead. Captain Rathore quickly ordered the men to take defensive positions, but Arav, scanning the area through his binoculars, whispered, "Sir, I don't see anyone." "Maybe it's a false alarm." Captain Rathore replied sharply, "Follow the order, soldier. Hold your position." Seconds later, a burst of gunfire erupted from the darkness. Bullets whizzed past their heads. The forest came alive with chaos. Had they not taken cover when ordered, many would have been hit. Arav froze for a moment, realizing the captain's instinct had saved their lives. When the gunfire stopped and silence returned, Arav sat behind a rock, his heart pounding. He looked at Captain Rathore, who calmly checked on every soldier, making sure all was safe before tending to his own bleeding arm. At that moment, Arav felt something he had never felt before. Deep, genuine respect. Not because of the captain's rank, but because of his courage, calmness, and care for his men. He understood. A true leader doesn't need to shout to be respected. He earns it through action. Days later, their unit was ordered to climb a high ridge for surveillance. The path was steep and slippery after rain. As they moved, one of the younger soldiers, Rohit, slipped and twisted his ankle. The team halted. Captain Rathore immediately handed his own backpack to Arav and lifted Rohit onto his back. "We don't leave anyone behind," he said. Step by step, he carried Rohit up the hill, despite his own injuries. Arav watched in silence, realizing leadership isn't about giving orders from above, it's about carrying others when they fall. A few days later, while returning from a mission, the unit came under sudden heavy fire. The enemy had ambushed them near a narrow pass. Captain Rathore ordered his men to take cover behind rocks, but their radio was damaged and communication with headquarters was lost. Realizing someone needed to reach higher ground to send a distress signal, he volunteered himself. Arav protested, "Sir, let me go." Rathore shook his head. "That's an order, Lieutenant. Stay with the men." He ran through the fire, covering ground with impossible speed. Moments later, they heard an explosion. The captain's position had been hit. When the reinforcements arrived and the area was secured, they found Captain Rathor severely injured. But the signal had gone through. His message had saved the entire unit. Arav sat by the captain's hospital bed, eyes filled with tears. He whispered, "Sir, I didn't always understand your ways. But now I know. Leadership isn't about being obeyed, it's about protecting others, even at your own cost." Captain Rathor smiled faintly. "And respect, my boy, is not demanded. It is earned when you serve something greater than yourself." Those were his last words before he closed his eyes forever.
Months passed.
Arav, now promoted to captain, led his own team. Whenever his soldiers questioned his orders, he smiled gently, the same way Rathor once did, and said, "You'll understand someday." He carried Rathor's lessons in his heart, the lessons of humility, discipline, and courage. And every time he saluted his fallen leader's photo, he whispered the same promise. "Sir, I'll lead as you did, with respect and love." Leadership is not about titles or stars on your shoulder. It's about standing firm when others fall, staying calm when others panic, and caring for those you lead, even when it costs you everything. And respect for leaders isn't about fear or formality. It's about recognizing their sacrifices, their sleepless nights, their unseen struggles. A leader's voice may be strict, but behind it lies concern. Their rules may seem harsh, but behind them lies protection. When we respect our leaders, we strengthen the very foundation that keeps us safe: discipline, unity, and trust. So, my friend, whether you wear a uniform or not, remember this: true respect is not shown by words alone, but by understanding what a leader endures. Respect your leaders, in the army, in school, at work, and in life, because when you learn to follow with respect, one day you will lead with honor.
Thank you for watching Wisdom Tales.
If this story touched your heart, like, share, and subscribe to enjoy more motivational tales that also help you learn English. Your support helps more stories reach those who need them. See you in the next story.